Okay, it is 7:01. We do have a quorum present. Appreciate each and every one of you being here this evening. Off the bat, we'll do a roll call. Mr. Helsher.
Here.
Mr. Landine.
Here.
Mr. Lerma.
Here.
Ms. Mostella.
Here.
Ms. Scheck. Ms. McLaren. Ms. Alessandro.
Here.
Mr. Carroll.
Here.
Okay, one who's present here. There's a little business we have to attend to since it is being televised over YouTube. Video conference notice. Due to the public health threat of COVID-19 coronavirus, this meeting will be conducted by video conference. At least a quorum of the board will be participating by video conference in accordance with the provisions of section 551.125 or 551.27 of the Texas Government Code that have not been suspended by order of the governor. Members of the public may access this meeting as follows. There's a www.youtube that they can go to, and it says members of the public who desire to address the board regarding an agenda or a non-agenda item must comply with the following registration procedures. A link to a public comment form is available at a www.surveymonkey.com, TMISD board comment. This link and form will be active July the 13th, 2020 from 9 a.m. until 6:45 p.m. Comments submitted will be read aloud during the public comment section of this notice and agenda. So we'll do the pledge now. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Tolosa Midway's board mission statement is Tolosa Midway Independent School Districts educates every student to be a lifelong learner, a person of integrity, and a positive contributor to society. The first order of business is public open forum, and we did not have anyone sign up for that. I did not submit any. Now we move into the discussion action items, and Ms. McLaren, number one, please.
Yes, Mr. Mostella. The first item on the agenda is to discuss and consider possible action regarding the resolution adopted on March 20th, 2020, and adoption of resolution authorizing superintendent to act on behalf of the board related to COVID-19 issues for the 2020-2021 school year. Basically, this is as I understand it, a pretty standard resolution where things are changing so rapidly regarding the COVID-19 situation in our communities. And it is basically just granting, the board granting permission for the superintendent to act on their behalf in doing all the normal day-to-day things that might be affected by COVID-19.
It also has provisions in there that the board will be notified of anything that needs to be brought to their attention.
Exactly.
And most of you have read it, so is there any questions? Is that all?
Yeah. Mr. Mostella, I keep hearing to the superintendent, which superintendent do we have that we appointed already?
We have Ms. Melody McLaren as the acting interim superintendent.
Acting or interim?
Acting interim superintendent,
Okay,
the interim.
okay. All right, I was confused a little bit there as to superintendent or interim superintendent or acting superintendent. I think the wording needs to be clarified.
That was, that was made clarified because of the necessity to have an interim superintendent.
Well, that's not a problem. It's just that the board needs to approve, and I think we did back when we were discussing an interim superintendent or a temporary person.
Yes, we did. And we voted to appoint Ms. McLaren. Okay, are there any questions concerning the item that was brought up? The adoption of the new resolution or modification of the older one we did in March. Now, this one will go for the entire school year, 2021 school year. As long as we're under this COVID coronavirus.
Okay, Mr. President, we're not supposed to go actually by September or something. Are we still interviewing? Are we going to be interviewing for a permanent superintendent?
Mr. Landine, that is not the subject for discussion, but yes, we are. Our executive search committee is going to have the time for them to submit for their recognition or consideration is July the 29th. That's the last day for submitting their resumes and applications.
Okay, all right.
Mr. President, that's a point of order, please. I know
Yes, I
the general
understand.
does.
Point of order understood, because we're discussing about the approval of the resolution for the 2021 school year.
Now, Paul,
All right, all right.
this is Billy. On this resolution, once we pass it for this time around, does it make a difference whose name is on it, or are we gonna have to pass another one when we do elect another superintendent, or is this good for the whole year, no matter who the superintendent is or interim is?
Well, the wording of it is for a superintendent or interim. It does not specify any
Specific.
individual.
Oh, okay. I was just trying to clarify that. I just wanted
Yes.
to make sure.
It's the chief educational officer of the district is what it's.
Okay. No, that's fine. Thank you.
Good question. Good question. Thank you. Any other questions, please? Comments? Okay. Do we have a motion?
Mr. President,
I will,
I move that we accept the recommendation. Accept
Okay.
the resolution for the 2021 school year.
okay, I've got an approved motion here, and I will read it. Yes. I move that the board end the board resolution previously adopted on March 20, and that the board delegate authority to the superintendent to act on behalf of the board regarding the COVID-19 pandemic for the 2021 school year as follows. I move that the board end the board resolution previously adopted in March 2020, and that the board delegate authority to the superintendent to act on behalf of the board regarding the COVID-19 pandemic for the 2020-21 school year as presented. As furthermore moved that a signed copy of the resolution be attached to the minutes of this meeting. And I'll take yours as the second then, Billy? On
Yes, sir.
that? Okay, thank you. Any other comments or questions? Okay, we'll have a roll call vote. Ms. Mostella,
Yes.
Mr. Landine,
I abstain.
Mr. Helsher,
Yes.
Mr. Lerma,
Yes.
Ms. Sheck, Mr. Bill, and Paul Mostella. I vote yes as well. The motion carries 4 with 1 abstention. And our one board member is not here this evening, Mr. John Samigo. He was tied up with business. Ms. McLaren, we move on to the second discussion action item.
Yes, the second action item actually is something that Rodney started prior to leaving. He had asked that we begin to look into a clear bag policy for our situation in our stadiums. He had asked that we begin to think about a clear bag policy for all of our athletic events. The NFL actually is who began the policy, and then it was followed by colleges. And it was noted that we adhered to those policies last year when we were visitors at Alice and Calallen and CCISD. Most of you who have attended events at the American Bank Center know that they also have a clear bag policy in place. So it was looked into, and you have a copy of that. We feel that for the safety of our guests, the safety of our athletes, the safety of staff, that it would be in the best interest to go ahead and look at this policy. And you have some examples also of what are approved items and what were not approved items. And I believe both of those are, no, there's Calallen and CCISD. And so for the increased security of our students and spectators, administration recommends that the clear bag policy be approved as presented.
Thank you, Ms. McLaren. Do we have a motion on the administrative recommendation, please?
So moved, Mr. President. Billy Lemon.
Thank you, Mr. Lemma. Do we have a second, please?
Jan Mostella, I second, please.
Thank you, Jan Mostella. Any comments or questions from anyone, please?
No, this is just that all after school functions or during school UIL, I mean, does it entail all that? As far as if we have like speech,
It's for all events. Yes, sir.
no matter what event it is?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
Okay,
Believe
So
it is
like
for
the
all.
tennis courts?
that's what I'm saying. Anything
Where
that's
you
on campus.
enter. Yeah, where you have to enter.
They consider for all.
We don't
UIL.
take gate or admission at the tennis courts. Could extend it to that, but there's no gate or admission there for someone that they'd have to pass in order to be following the rules.
So like the swimming pool, there's no admission to the swimming pool.
For swimming events, there is, yes, sir. For meets,
For meets?
yes, sir.
Okay. And so what about the UIL events that we host at school?
Yes, if there's people coming in, so say like theater arts, if they'd have to pass through a gate or admission to get in there, yes, there would be people monitoring that. And
How about those that you don't charge at that are in the school? You know, like speech, drama, any of those type of things that you have competitions on in the school and you charge nothing. You just have, they enter the door and that's it. How about those areas?
well,
I want to ask all these little questions.
yes, sir. Can you say which events you said again?
Is there any, like UIL, there's not a charge on all UIL events that are in the school as far as scholastic wise.
Right, because usually there's no spectators there. The parents can't go in and actually watch them compete for those specific events.
Okay,
They can watch them compete in UIL and BPA events that are held at our schools.
see, that's what I thought. That's why I'm asking that. I mean, if we're gonna go this route, it needs to go across the board on every function. I don't care what function it is, whether you pay, whether it makes no difference to me. It needs to go across the board even. We don't need people confused. This one you can, this one you don't have to, this, you know, we don't need to send that message out is what I'm saying.
Well, we always, at any UIL event, we have administrators and teachers assigned there and they can take those responsibilities.
Okay, we're gonna have signage, we're gonna have all that kind of stuff up.
Yes, that's why we wanted to do it early, prior to any activities actually starting, so we can put the wording in. If y'all were in favor of it, anything you wanted to change, do that. We could make the announcements, we could make the signage, we could get all of that up, and that way in place prior to any activities starting.
Okay. So we'll be sending letters home, that kind of stuff to inform the parents and the public.
That would be how Ms. McLaren would want to do it, but I would assume for sure we could do all calls, the athletic page, the Facebook. I don't know specifically if we need to do a letter to every resident, but if that's the route we want to go, we can do
And it
that.
will be on our webpage as well.
Yeah, I just
I
want to make
don't
sure
know
we get
that
the word out.
I don't know that this is going to be an issue for a while, but when I
Yeah,
talked
I
to
know.
Mr. Casadas, I said, let's go ahead and get this done early so
Yeah.
that the word can get out. We can let the community know. My biggest concern is that the way things are happening, one thing today and tomorrow it's changed. I'd rather be proactive and have it in place than all of a sudden we find out the fans are going to be allowed and we haven't enacted this and haven't had a chance to get the word out.
Okay. Well, I'm just talking about, we're gonna have permanent siding like at the football field.
Right.
Even at the tennis courts that you can put on the chain link fence, that's permanent signing saying clear bags only, that type of thing. If we're gonna do it, we need to do it across the campus, everywhere that we can post signs at. Is what I just want to make sure we get it done right.
Yes, sir. And as you see in there was the CCISD one and the Cal Allen one. The
Mhm.
difference there is the size in the bag that you can bring in. It's about 2-inch difference. We would want to, or I would suggest that we do more like the Cal Allen one, because they're the same size. They're right next door to us. We're going to be in the same district for a long time. We might as well have consistency with our fans, their fans. And when they enacted it during the football season last year, they didn't start the school year with it, but they enacted it during the football season. The district sent that memo out to everybody, letting them know this was the policy when you went to Cal Allen. So I really feel that it's going to start going across the board, and the more consistency we have within the district, the better for everyone, less confusion.
And signage is posted. for people to understand and see.
Now that you're approving, if you approve it tonight, we will get started on the signage, but there's no signage up right now.
Right, no, I'm talking about the other districts that have it
Oh,
implemented.
yeah.
Oh, yes, sir.
Yes. All right,
So is this for just spectators or for the students who travel to, like when the kids went to Cal Allen, do they have to have clear bags to participate there?
Our students to Cal Allen,
Yeah, when they went to go play football.
anybody who enters the stadium. Yes, sir, the stadium or the gym or whatever, the theater, whatever the event is being held, they have to follow it.
So when you-
If they're students or adults.
So the kids had to have clear bags to go
Yes,
play
sir.
football there? And the band had
No,
to have clear
The players, no, not the players, sir, because they don't take those bags out to the field.
no.
Okay.
It's just for the spectators and people that are following an event, not
Okay.
the participants, because they have to have their special equipment bags and everything else. It's just for the spectators and the people that come in from what I've seen and been associated with, so. Okay, we've had a long discussion. Do we have a motion yet?
Yes, sir. I
We
made
had
the
a-
motion and Jan seconded.
And Jan seconded. So is there any further discussion? If there's no further discussion, start with Mr. Lerma.
Yes.
Okay, Ms. Mastella,
Yes.
Mr. Helsher. Mr.
Yes.
Landine,
Yes,
is Ms. Scheck in here yet?
Yes.
Okay, yes. And Paul Mastella, yes as well. So the motion carries 6-0. Okay. Thank you very much. Good discussion, good questions. That's the way to approach things, you know. Have to be certain, make sure everybody's clear on everything. That's good. Okay, consent agenda discussion action items, Ms. McLaren?
Yes, Philip, check payment registers, financials, budget amendments and minutes of the regular board meeting held June 15th and special called board meetings June 19th and June 29th.
Yes. Did anyone, I don't think, did anyone call having questions, Philip?
Yes,
Did anyone have any questions? Okay.
okay,
now-
can you hear me now? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Mr. Helsher, you had a question about the athletic deductions. We've continued to, those are voluntary. And so we continue to deduct them unless the employee stops them. I don't know if you were asking because the gyms were closed for certain periods of time. But once somebody signs up, we keep deducting until they tell us to stop deducting. So it's going to continue unless someone tells us to stop.
So that was the teachers or somebody's paying for that and then it gets deducted then out of our
Yeah,
stuff?
it's part of our wellness program. We deduct for Landshark Fitness and Corpus Christi Athletic Club. We offer that. We do it through payroll deduction. But it's part of our wellness program.
So that pays for their membership to those locations?
Yes, there's different, whatever the criteria is, they turn in their paperwork, whatever membership level they want, whatever the amount is. And then those athletic clubs tell us, and then we start deducting. And the employee has to sign that they authorize TMISD to deduct whatever the dues are. And it keeps going until they stop it.
Okay.
I think that was the only question I had, or that anybody had addressed to me.
And your recommendation, Ms. McLaren?
I recommend that the Board of Trustees approve the presented budget amendments.
The consent agenda items 1 through 4, correct?
Correct.
Yes. Do we have a motion administrative recommendation, please?
Jen Mostella, I shall move on that.
Thank you, Ms. Mostella. Do we have a second, please?
Kim Schick, I second.
Thank you, Ms. Schick. Any further questions, comments? Okay, roll call. We'll start with Mr. Latimer again.
Yes.
Ms. Mostella,
Yes.
Mr. Helsher,
Yes.
Mr. Landine,
Yes.
Ms. Schick,
Yes.
Paul Mostella, yes, as well. That's motion carries 6-0. All right, we do have closed session items tonight, so we'll go into that at this time. The board will convene in closed meeting as authorized by the Texas Open Meeting Act, Government Code, Chapter 551 for possible employment issues and concerns, 551.074, employment of certified personnel, Family First Coronavirus Act Leave Information Report, FFCRA. If a closed session item requires action, the board shall take such action upon reconvening in open session 551.102. A certified agenda of closed session is maintained 551.103 and items and posted disclosed in accordance with the law 551.104. It is 7:24 p.m. July the 13th, 2020. We are in closed session.